The night sky was a blank canvas of black, the moon burning bright at its center like a solitary star. Tiny specks of starlight glittered across the heavens as a woman clad in blue and black stood silently on a bridge in London, her coattails dancing in the gentle breeze that swept across the earth. Her name was Mariko, a vampire seductress over 5 centuries old, known for luring young men into her bed only to feed on them. Sighed by the legendary Count Dracula himself, her brown eyes now scanned the city below, sharp and aware. She felt it, something, watching her, something familiar. A presence like her own, another vampire, another Shire Dracula. Mariko turned her head slightly, a wicked grin tugging at her lips. How long are you going to hide? From the shadow cast by the towering buildings of London, a figure emerged with eyes glowing faintly red in the moonlight. Seras Victoria stepped into view, dressed in a modified version of her Hellsing uniform, sleek, dark, and suited for quiet movement. Her boots echoed softly against the concrete as she approached the bridge, arms folded across her chest. The vampire girl, once known as Police Girl, had long since shed her innocence, and her place to the warrior of the night no longer wondered for what she was, but embracing it. Still, there was a humanity to her gaze that Tom hadn't shipped away. She came to a stop a short distance behind the woman in blue and black. Wasn't hiding, Seras replied evenly, her voice calm but firm. Just making sure you were alone. Her crimson eyes locked onto the other vampire with scrutiny, head tilted slightly as she studied her. You're not from London, so why are you here and what do you want? And what if I'm not? She shouted, eyes flashing red as she turned to face the woman fully. Her stance radiated confidence, perhaps even danger. If this stranger should have carried the same blood she did, then Monica already had a sense of what the other was capable of. Is this how you treat tourists? My business is my own, not for strangers skulking in the shadows. Her gaze sharp to the uniform, eyes narrowing at the familiar insignia blazing across the woman's chest. The Hellsing organization. I've heard of your lot, vampire hunters of the highest order. A smirk played on her lips, sharp and knowing. Tell me, how does it feel to go around killing your own kind? Seras didn't flinch at the challenge. Her eyes remained locked on the Mariko, their crimson glow unwavering beneath the London moonlight. Didn't I say you're in the one city if you didn't want company? She stepped closer, boots silent against the concrete now. The breeze pulled lightly at her blonde hair, but her expression stayed firm, measured. I don't look, I observe. There's a difference. Mariko's comment about the Hellsing organization earned a slight tilt of Seras' head and a faint, bitter smile. We don't kill vampire because they're our kind. We kill monsters. A pause. That's the difference between you and me. You see bloodlines, I see choices. Her stance widened just slightly, fingers twisted near her side if out of habit, though there was no weapon shown, not yet. So what's all you, Mariko? Blood or monster? So you have heard of me. A faint smile touched the pale woman's lips as she sighed Seras up with deliberate eyes. She was attracted like many vampires were, but Mariko didn't stray toward women. Only men, only prey. Her thoughts shifted to the one who made her, Count Dracula, or as he called himself now, Adalcar, Helsing's loyal dog. The dog sparked fire in her veins, a familiar ways, a hunger. You can feel it, can't you? The same blood that runs through my veins flows through yours. She grinned now, wider, darker. So tell me, Jacqueline, she purred, are you going to kill your sister? Seras didn't move. Her eyes narrowed, but her body remained still, stone carved in the moonlight. She could feel it now, clearer than before, the signature, that darkness, that curse. It poured through Mariko like a mirror held up to her own soul. I feel it, she said quietly. It's like a whisper I've been trying to ignore. Her expression hardened, no grin, no smirk, just resolve. Blood doesn't make us family. She stepped forward, now only a breath apart from the other vampire, the air between them jaws tense. Adalcar taught me to think for myself, to decide what I want to be. You talk about being sisters, but I don't see it. A pause. I see a predator who'd never stop being prey. Her crimson gaze glowed brighter now, just a flicker of what lay beneath. I don't want to kill you, Mariko, but I will if I have to. Oh, is that what he taught you? Mariko cooed, her voice soft and mocking as one hand reached for the death sight strapped across her back. The man I knew, the man I loved, he taught me how to survive, how to kill, how to hunt, how to lead. She unhooked her weapon with care, bringing it to her side like a priestess raising a holy relic. The cold blade gleamed under the moonlight, held upright like a staff, and her brown eyes remained locked on Seras Victoria. Then he left me for that whole Mina Hawker. The sight rose into a ready stance, her posture rigid yet graceful, battle-worn and unyielding. You want to know why I'm here, Shakalina? Her voice deepened, sharpened. To feast on the blood of the innocent and lure men into the trap of their own lustful desires. She bared her fangs in a grin that was equal parts seductive and savage. If you want to stop me, you're welcome to try, but I haven't survived over 5 centuries just to fall to a vampire clean into a moral code. Seras didn't flinch at the sight, nor at the fit in Marco's voice. She faced worse monsters and loved some of them too. He taught me a lot of things, Seras said, her voice low but steady. But most of all, he taught me not to let the past define me. She took a step forward, her eyes glowing brighter, burning like shin embers beneath the moonlight. You're still chained to him, still chasing a ghost. The wind picked up, following her coat as her stance shifted naturally into combat. No weapon shone yet, but the power beneath her skin stood like a stone waiting to break. You want to call yourself my sister, Mariko, she said, voice firm. Then stop acting like a bitter ass and start taking responsibility for your choices. A pause, cold silence then. I'm not here to preach, I'm here to protect this city. Her pupils nailed into slits and the shadow behind her stood. If that means putting you down a breath, so be it. I'm going to kill you, Seras Victoria of the Hellsing organization. I'll bleed you slow, intimately. Then I'll kill your master and burn Hellsing to the ground. Only then will I be worthy to see my count again. Mariko stepped forward, sight in hand. Her weapon gave her the weasel advantage. Just a few paces would close the gap between them. But she wasn't reckless. She knew better than to underestimate a Hellsing agent. And if Seras surely carried his blood, then she was every bit the threat Mariko herself had become. Face me, Seras Victoria, she shouted, voice laced with both fury and anticipation. Show me you're worthy to carry his blood in your veins. Seras didn't blink, didn't move. She stood there as the threat washed over her like water on stone. You think killing me would bring him back? She asked coldly, her tone cutting through the night air. That's not love, Mariko. That's obsession, and it's watered you from the inside out. Her hands lowered, flexing slightly as the shadow began to stir at her feet, subtle, hungry, alive. I fought monsters stronger than you. I've stood in the blood-soaked halls of my enemies as the 5 halls that will have broken lists of vampires. She stepped forward now, just 1 pace, but enough to meet the moment with power radiating from her coal. You want to see if I'm worthy of his blood? She said, eyes glowing crimson like a pair of burning coals. Then come find out. Another step. But just know, her voice sharpened to a quiet, dangerous calm. I don't fight to prove anything. I fight to protect, and if I have to put you down to do it, a final breath, I won't hesitate. If there's one thing I've learned about my precious Count, Mariko took a massive step forward, closing the distance with deliberate precision. He's never surely gone. Without hesitation, she swung her sight in a wide arc, aiming to wrap the curved blade around Seras' hip. Her plan was clear. Pull her in close, use her free hand to deliver a crescent clothesline, and then drive the butt of the sight into Seras' skull. Seras' eyes snapped open just as the sight swung towards her hip. Instinct and training took over in an instant. With a fluid shift of her body, she narrowly escaped the deadly hook, the curved blade scraping past her skin with a hard scrap. Before Mariko could react, Seras lashed out with a powerful white hook aimed at the pale woman's jaw, her vampire hand shank ready to shatter bone. At the same time, her left hand reached for the silver-tipped cartridge at her belt, pulling it free with lightning speed. You have to do better than that, Seras growled, her voice low and steady. She fired a silver bullet in a sharp arc, aiming to disrupt Mariko's attack and force her to reconsider her next move. The city's cold night air cracked with tension as 2 deadly predator clashed on the London Bridge. Mariko took the blunt force of the punch head-on as bones shattered beneath her skin. The silver bullet pierced her flesh, showing dark blood as she staggered back. Yet the sight remained firm in her grasp. Her harsh laugh escaped her lips. Her bones knit in the wound, sealing almost instantly thanks to her witch-generated powers. With practiced ease, she shoot her own pistol, the 9mm bloodlust, its ebony frame gleaming under the moonlight, loaded with blessed silver rounds. You say you face monsters stronger than me, she taunted. Sight in her left hand, bloodlust raising her right, Mariko leveled the pistol at Seras. You sure about that? A burst of silver hot bullets tore through the cold night air, aimed directly at Seras. Seras' instinct flared as a torrent of silver bullets screamed towards her. She shot low, warning to the side with inhuman speed, the rounds whizzing past and embedding themselves into the stone wailing behind her. Before Marco could reload, Seras was already moving silent, deadly. Her hand flashed to her own pistol, pulling the silver tip rounds from the belt with practiced ease. She fired a precise volley aimed at Marco at both sides, each bullet shot with a lethal blessing. At the same time, Seras surged forward, closing the gap with supernatural speed. Her crimson eyes locked on Marco's movements, calculating, ready to strike. "You're fast," Seras whispered, voice low and fierce, but not fast enough. The battle on the London Bridge was far from over. Marco executed a swift shot, narrowly evading the bullets aimed at her at both sides. Her sight slid back along her spine with practiced ease. Now both pistols of 9mm Bloodlust and the 11mm Blessing were raised in her hands. One ebony, one ivory, each loaded with pendant silver rounds. "He taught you well," she said, voice laced with dark amusement. "But if you think I'm going down without a fight..." She leveled both weapons at Seras. "Then you don't know me at all." With a thunderous roar, both pistols fired in unison, sending a silver bullet blazing through Seras' flesh. Seras barely had time to react as the shedding silver bullets tore through the air, their deadly path aimed straight for her. With a blurred motion, she dove sideways, the bullets embedding themselves into the stone with sparks flying. Her boots found grip as she shifted upright in one fluid motion, eyes burning crimson with fierce determination. Without hesitation, Seras shot her own pair of pistols, the blessed silver round gleaming cold in the moonlight. She fired a rapid, precise volley aiming to disrupt Marco's rhythm and keep her on the defensive. At the same time, Seras closed the distance, the predator now becoming the hunter. "You're relentless," she said through gritted teeth, "but I'm not done yet." The London Bridge became the battleground, shadow flickering as two forces clashed under the watchful gaze of the night. "What can I say? I learned from the best." Marco took the bullet head on, allowing the damage to land, but within seconds her wounds healed seamlessly, showing how futile Seras' weapons truly were. She laughed, a dark shuddering sound, before firing a fresh volley of counter bullets toward the other Jacqueline. She sensed Seras' hesitation to simply absorb the damage and heal that was shaken with Marco's fairness. With a flourish, she holstered her pistol as if the gunfight was already over. "Enough of this charade. It's time to fight like true vampires." Marco crossed her arms, and darkness swept across the skyline, blotting out even the moonlight. From her body emerged black cobras with glowing blue eyes and feminine fangs, her familiars. They took to the air, circling the battlefield before lunging forward, mouth open wide, ready to devour Seras where she stood. Seras' eyes narrowed as the black cobra with glowing blue eyes slithered and soared towards her, venom shipping from her fangs like liquid death. Without hesitation, she leapt backward, muscle coiling with supernatural speed. The cobra snapped at the empty air where she had stood moments before. Landing gracefully, Seras' hands moved with practiced precision. She summoned shadows from the darkness beneath the bridge, shifting them into sharp tendrils that lashed out to intercept the feminine serpents. The shadowy tendril wrapped around the cobra body, squeezing tight and crushing as Seras advanced, pistol drawn and ready. "Nice pets," she muttered, voice steady but cold, "but they don't scare me." Her crimson eye glowed fiercely as she closed the distance, prepared to end this fight on her own terms. "You assume my intent is to scare you." A cruel smirk spread across Marco's lips as she stretched out her arms. From her sleeve spilled a spawn of small gray spiders, their many legs glittering with deadly purpose. They crawled towards Seras, eager to cover her skin in the foul flesh in seconds. More silver bullets roared from Marco's bloodlust and blessing pistols, the sharp reports echoing beneath the oppressive darkness, hanging over the battlefield like a storm cloud. "Show me your fire, Seras," she taunted, voice shipping with dark amusement. "Show me that deep down a part of you actually enjoys this." Seras' eyes narrowed as the gray spiders spilled from Marco's sleeves, their legs shifting and crawling with lethal intent. She didn't flinch. With a swift motion, she slammed her palms together, sending a shockwave of dark energy whipping outward, incinerating the spider before they could reach her skin. Her crimson gaze locked on the Marco, burning with fierce determination. "You want to see my fire?" Seras growled, voice low and fierce. "I don't just enjoy this, I live for it." She raised her pistols again, shadow coiling around her like a storm ready to break. Now show me what you're really made of. Mariko stood her ground, ready to face the storm that was Seras Victoria. As the tension thickened, her short black hair began to grow, cascading past her shoulders in long, flowing chains. Her clothing shimmered and shifted, replaced by elegant black wrist warps complete with a wide-brimmed hat. A grin spread across her youthful face, revealed in sharp, gleaming fangs. You want to see what I'm made of? Rain began to fall from the heavens, thunder roared and lightning carved shacks scarred across the sky, illuminating the battlefield with vampire faced vampire, one clad in crimson, the other in shadow. Marika raised her hand to the heavens, and with a flick of her wit, she plucked the lightning from the sky itself, striking down at Seras Victoria, bolt after bolt. Seras Victoria is not the monster you should feel. She snapped her fingers, and the wind howled to life, whipping through the air at impossible speed, seeking to lift Seras from the ground and hurl her into the dark. It's the wits within you should worry about. The wind howled like a living thing, tearing at Seras' coat and whipping her hair across her face. Rain pelted her skin and lightning cracked the sky above like the wrath of gods, and yet she didn't move. As the lightning came down, Seras crossed her arms in front of her face. The bolt struck pain, flailed, but she stood her ground. Smoke rolled from her shoulders, but her crimson eyes never wavered. That all you got, wits? She growled, voice tight through clenched teeth. The storm howled louder. The wind threatened to lift her from the ground, but her boots remained planted, muscles strained, fangs clenched. Shadow coiled around her legs like anchor, biting her to the earth. I've walked through fire, through blood, through hell itself, her arms sharp to her sides, fists clenched. You think a little weather is going to stop me? She took a step forward, then another. You want the monster, the Souza, the woman? Her aura flailed, shadow dancing around her now like blades ready to strike. You're getting off free. Yes. Mariko purred with delight, spreading her arms wide, palms open to the storm. Her grin, wide and unshaken, never faltered, even as the air between the two vampires grew thick with danger. The weather worsened with every passing second, the atmosphere crackling with supernatural energy. Show me you're worried to carry his blood in your veins. With a sharp clap of her hands, Mariko summoned a devastating tornado between them. The monstrous funnel shifted skyward, towering over the London skyline and warmed with destructive force. It defiled everything in its path, shattering windows, lifting debris, but in the fairy air. The tornado crept to her Seras like a living beast, threatening to whip her apart with sheer force. And through it all, Mariko watched, her grin wide, eyes gleaming with wicked pleasure. The tornado howled like a wrathful god, towering above the skyline and tearing through the city with merciless force. Glass shattered, stone cracked, air pressure collapsed around Seras as the beast of wind surged towards her. Still she didn't retreat. Her boots dug into the rain slick bridge, shadow curling around her legs like ankles once more. Her long coat whipped wildly behind her, but she held firm, defiant. You want to test my blood? Seras shouted over the roar of the wind, her eyes glowing like molten fire. Then here's your answer. With a growl from deep in her chest, Seras shoved her fist into the ground, releasing a blast of energy that pulsed outward like a shock wave. Her shadow erupted in every direction, fake, subdued, and laced with her will, they tore through the wind, clashing with the cyclone force, splitting apart piece by piece. Debris spun around her like a maelstrom, but Seras stood untouched in its eye. She rolled slowly, eyes locked on Mariko. You're not the only one who's evolved. Mariko raised a single finger, her expression calm, almost serene, as she summoned the fairy waters of the earth. Walls of shining water erupted around them, spiraling upward, forming a towering vortex like a hurricane waiting to be unleashed. The winds howled louder, shaking the foundation of London. The tornado from before now seemed like child's play compared to the colossal storm gathering above them. The hurricane swirled with apocalyptic force and added sentence to Seras Victoria caught in the eye of the storm. You're in the eye of the storm. Mariko slammed her hands together and the sea answered her call. The hurricane came crashing down upon Seras with the full fury of water, wind, and nature's wrath. Unrelenting, merciless. Don't get carried away. The hurricane crashed down like a living titan, waves hammering the ground, wind slicing through stone, the roar of water louder than any war cry. Seras vanished beneath the surge. For a moment there was only chaos. Then, from within the flood, a crimson glow poured through the darkness. A second later, the wall of water burst outward as Seras exploded from the wreckage, airborne and shins, her eyes blazing like molten fire, shadow coiled tightly around her form. Dense protected, alive, the force of her will held them together like armor forced from darkness. She landed on the bridge in the crowd, steam rising from her soaked foam. Nice storm, she growled, rising slowly, but I still feel worse. With a roar, Seras heard a spear of condensed shadow shake at Marco's chest, sharp, fast, and reinforced by her vampire rage. The spear was followed by a rusted tendril aiming to bind her arms and legs, pin her down, and close the gap. Let's see how well your master holds up when I get my hands on you. Mariko raised her white palm, conjuring an invisible magical barrier just in time to intercept the incoming shadows. The tendril slammed against the shield, withering and clawing for pushes, but found no entry. She grinned, staring into the heart of Seras Victoria darkness. In that moment she saw echoes of the man she had once loved. You remind me of him, she purred, but he didn't just control shadows. Her left arm lit up, a source of arcane energy swirling at her fingertips. Without warning, she chopped the barrier and released a binding beam of magical light, searing through the shadows as if they were nothing more than smoke and ash. He was Shadow. The beam of magic tore through the shadows like fire through paper, forcing Seras to leap back, her boots skidding across the rain slick bridge. Light stung her eyes, burned her skin, but she didn't scream. She endured. When the glow faded, she stood tall, sheltered the edges, steam rising from her body, but her will unbroken. Her eyes glowing fiercely red, locked onto Marco. I'm not him. Her voice was calm, cold. I'll never be him. She threw one hand out, and the shadow remnants of her darkness pulled back together, reshaping into a shattered blade of living shadow. With a burst of vampire speed, Seras closed the distance in a blink, appearing in front of Marco mid-strike. The blade came down in a brutal arc, aimed at Marco's shoulder, while Seras' free hand swung up for a punishing uppercut, reinforced with shadow energy. I'm not his shadow, I'm his legacy. The blade struck true, but instead of blood, only thick black ink spilled from the wound. Marco collapsed to the ground and erupted into a cloud of shadows. Her laughter echoed through the battlefield, disembodied and taunting as her presence vanished from sight. Someone still kneels, still waltzing. You speak as if it would be a tragedy to be like him. In the next breath, she was behind Seras with foam from the shadows. Sight in hand, with a swift, wide arc, she swung the curved blade towards Seras' back, aiming to carve through flesh and bone. Why not embrace the monster? The sight found its mark. Steel tore through Seras' back, and her fist's arc, splitting flesh and shone a spray of dark crimson across the storm-drenched bridge. She stumbled forward with a sharp gasp, pain flaring through every nerve, but she didn't fall. Her knees bent, her finger dug into the pavement, blood dripped from her side, but she rose. Slowly, deliberately, eyes burning brighter than ever. You think that makes you powerful? She growled, voice strained but steady. Cutting someone down from behind. She turned to face Marco, fully wounded, bleeding but defiant. Shadow fell across her once more, not as weapons this time, but as wings, dark, tailored, and rising behind her like the wrath of a forgotten god. I don't need to be a monster. She raised her weapon again to bring one down. There are no rules in a sheath fight. The grin that followed was shifted, demonic, shattering the illusion of innocence worn by the beautiful young woman who had walked the earth for over 5 centuries. She raised the bloodlust as the storm intensified. Nature itself turned against Seras. Rain morphed into a razor-sharp hail, lightning tore across the sky, crashing down towards Seras' head. With violent precision, the wind howled louder, reaching impossible speeds. Then came another tornado, followed by a hurricane. One natural disaster after another. Amid the chaos, bullets from America's pistol were caught in the gales, gaining unnatural speed and accuracy as they cut through the storm, seeking Seras' flesh like guided knives, and others even less in woe. The storm was relentless. Hail pelted her skin like sharp, no lightning scorched the ground at her feet. Bullets screamed through the air, faster, sharper, more vicious with the storm's aid. One tore through her shoulder, another grazed her cheek. Still, Seras didn't fall. She staggered but caught herself, blood spilled freely, yet her eyes burned brighter, fiercer. She was soaked, battered, bleeding, but not broken. Then let's call it what it is, she growled, voice rising against the howling wind. Whoa! With a sudden surge of speed, Seras blew forward, her body low, shadow wrapping around her like armor. Bullets whizzed past her, but she pushed through the pain, through the pressure, through the chaos. She leapt into the air, wings of shadow flaring behind her, then came crashing down to America like a meteor, her fist west and dark energy aimed to drive straight into her chest. Let's finish this. Mariko's grin widened, if that were even possible. Her eye blazed blood red, mirroring Sirius's, mirroring his. As Sirius came crashing down, Mariko took full advantage. She raised her pistol, 9mm and 11mm, unleashing a storm of black silver bullets that tore through Sirius's body mid-fall, and then came the sight. The curved blade swept upward, aiming to impale Sirius clean through and suspend her in the air like a grotesque ornament cut down before she could land her strike. You should know better by now. With a brutal shift, Mariko spun and slammed Sirius into the ground, then yanked the sight free, crimson ship from the silver blade. Slowly, almost reverently, Mariko ran her tongue along the steel, tasting Sirius's blood for the first time. Power surged through her. You need to learn to respect your elders, she purred, and your superiors. The silver tore through her like fire. The sight showed into her gut, lifting her off the ground, palm. Pain screamed through every nerve, but Sirius didn't cry out. She endured. Slamming into the ground left a crater in the concrete, her body motionless for a heartbeat. Blood poured beneath her, mixing with the rain. Mariko's words echoed in her ears, mocking, superior, shrunk on blood. Then Sirius moved, faster than before. In a flash, he grabbed the shaft of the sight, still slick with her own blood, and pulled it forward, using it as leverage to shag herself toward Mariko. You're not my superior, she hissed, eye glowing like burning coals beneath soaked bangs. You're a parasite, feeding off its shadow. Her free hand soared upward, forming a spear of shadow from her own blood and slamming it toward Mariko's abdomen at point-blank range. I'm not beneath you. She forced herself to her feet, blood still pouring from her wound, but her voice unshaken. I'm beyond you. The spear of shadow peeled clean through Mariko's abdomen. Her crimson eye widened, showing a shock flashing across her face. She hadn't expected it to land. Then, in an instant, her body burst apart, disintegrated into hundreds of tiny gray spiders that scattered across the battlefield. They skittered towards Sirius, some attempting to crawl up her limbs, seeking entry into her skin like parasites. Elsewhere, the swarm regrouped, spiders putting on top one another into a grotesque assembly until they took the shape of flesh once more. Mariko reformed from the mass, completely healed, the wound in her abdomen gone as if it had never been. Impressive, she cooed, both pistols widening again as the storm howled around them. It's been a while since I felt pain. The spider crawled up her arms and legs, sinking tiny fangs into her skin, but Sirius didn't panic. She smirked. That was your mistake? With a sharp breath, Sirius' body pulsed, and the blows in the shadow energy radiating outward from her core like a shock wave. The blast tore through the crawling swarm, vaporizing spiders in an instant and leaving the ground scorched when she stood. As Mariko reformed, Sirius was already in motion, closing the distance with vampire speed. But instead of another brute force strike, she stopped her shy of engagement. One finger pointed at Mariko's chest. You didn't notice what I left inside you. From within Mariko's newly formed body, a spear of Sirius' own blood, impelled with shadow and sealed beneath the flesh during the previous strike, detonated. It uploaded outward with shaggy tinge of energy, whipping from the inside in a burst of wall force meant to destabilize her regeneration mid-phase. You're not the only one who evolves. What? Before Mariko could react, before even a dark, conformed tensure erupted from within her body. Blood exploded outward, splattered across the battlefield, mixing with the hail that rained down from the heavens. She shot to her knees, gasping, bleeding profusely. Her healing factor kicked in, but the attack had delayed it, throwing her balance into chaos. She coughed up blood, the crimson staining her lips as her eyes flickered just for a moment from red to brown. You bitch! Snarling, she forced herself upright, her body trembling and belly held together. Waves overtook reason as she launched herself at Sirius with wild brute strength, her movements feral, unashamed. I'll flay you alive! Her fangs bailed wide, seeking flesh, desperate to taste fences in Sirius' blood. Mariko's lungs filled, desperate teeth bailed, blood flying from the open wounds, still struggling to close, but Sirius didn't flinch. She stepped into the shawls. At the last second, her formed blood sidestepping the wire, attacked with social precision. One arm swept low, shadow crawling around Mariko's legs like iron chains, yanking her down to her knees. It didn't have to end like this. Sirius waved her white arm in front of her shadow came a massive, shagged spear of pure darkness, formed from blood, fury, and restraint, finally broken, but you never knew when to stop. With a cry of righteous fury, she shoved the spear forward, shaped through Malcolm's heart. The impact sent a pulse of energy through the air, rippling across the stone-waved battlefield. The darkness surged through Malcolm's body, devouring her from within, undoing the threads of regeneration that had held her together for centuries. Seras stood over her as the last of the wind began to die down. The hail slowed, the sky beginning to clear. Rest in peace, Michael. She turned, walking away, and Malcolm's body crumbled into ash and shadow. Finally, silence.